For my first cube slide, I have to do structure of the skin. So the skin is three main layers: the epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous layer, also known as the hypodermis. The epidermis is the top layer of the skin, as you can see right here. It is waterproof, creates a waterproof barrier, and also helps protect the skin against bacteria, harmful chemicals, and UVA lights. In the epidermis, you have the hair shaft, which helps to regulate the body temperature and facilitates the sweat as well. You have sweat pores, which are the areas of the skin where sweat can come out from the sweat glands, as I'll explain later. They come out and then they'll eventually mix with the sebum, as I will explain later. So moving on to the dermis. The dermis has two sublayers. There's the papillary layer and the reticular layer. The papillary layer is where the collagen is arranged in a thin sheet. As you can see here, it's arranged in a thin sheet, and it supplies the epidermis with nutrients. While the reticular layer has thicker and is typically parallel. The collagen is thicker and parallel to the upper layer of the skin, and it focuses more on the structure and the support of like holding this up than papillary layer. So in the dermis, you have the erector pili muscle. The erector pili muscle is, as you can see here, is this orange part right here. It connects to the hair follicle, which then can like control the hair. So for example, when you get goosebumps, your erector pili causes your hairs to stand straight up, and that will catch the heat and keep you warm, because the goosebumps is where you go from a warm temperature to a cold temperature very quickly. Next, you have the sebaceous gland, also known as the oil gland. This is attached to the hair follicles, and the clogging of them can lead to acne, as I'll explain in a future slide. And these oil glands help keep the hair lubricated, and they also produce sebum, which is an oil that when mixed with sweat will cause the sweat to evaporate, and it takes heat with it, therefore keeping you cool. It also helps to prevent infections. And then next you have the merocrine sweat gland, which secretes sweat, as I said, which then mixes with sebum. As you can see, it goes up into the sweat pores before exiting on top of the epidermis. You have the sensory nerves, as you can see here, here, and here. You have 4 sensory nerves. Obviously, that's not the exact amount you have in your skin, but in the drawing it is. These sensory nerves will keep they'll tell you if you're painful, what you're touching is hot, cold, pain. They relay this information back to the brain, and the brain then tells you what to do afterwards. And then down here you have your veins and your arteries, obviously circulatory system stuff. The artery brings blood from the heart down here, which provides nutrients to all of the cells over here. The veins will take this nutrient, oxygenless blood back to the heart. And yep, the hair follicle is what grows it's what the hair grows out of. As you can see down here in the hair root, which is inside of the hair follicle, it is like its own little special blood thing that's connected because it needs the nutrients to feed. The hair follicle will contain the sebaceous glands and everything. It kind of contains the hair. And then finally down here in the subcutaneous layer basically provides cushion for the skin. It's what protects the muscle, tendons, bones underneath it from blunt force. And it does that by using adipose tissue, which is the fat that provides the actual cushion for it. And it's all surrounded by areolar or connective tissue. And that is the structure of the skin with my hand-drawn diagram.